Welcome to the Soccer Scope War Room. Today's briefing is a forensic audit of the French national team as they approach the North American World Cup. We are dispensing with surface-level narratives and mainstream media hype. We are here to dissect the mechanics of the most frightening, yet paradoxically flawed, super team in modern international football. Our thesis is this: France has evolved from a team reliant on individual brilliance into a systemic Hydra, a multi-headed attacking monster with unprecedented squad depth. The recent crowning of Ousmane Dembélé as the Ballon d'Or winner, alongside Kylian Mbappé, gives France a theoretical attacking ceiling that is unmatched in football history. However, our data analysis from 2025 reveals a critical structural fault line. While their offensive diversification is complete, their defensive integrity against elite, high-pressing opposition has regressed. They are a team capable of scoring 5 against anyone. But as 2025 proved, they are also capable of conceding 5. This is an analysis of extreme contradictions: omnipotence in attack versus structural fragility in defense. Let's begin the dissection. To understand the current tactical reality of Les Bleus, we must first brutally analyze the contrasting datasets of 2025. We cannot treat these results as mere outliers. They are evidence of systemic capabilities and systemic failures. Dataset A: the Systemic Collapse Nations League Finals mid-2025. The raw numbers are staggering for a Didier Deschamps side. 9 goals conceded in just 180 minutes against Spain and Germany. A 4-5 defeat, followed by a 0-2 loss. This was not bad luck. This was a tactical failure. A failure of defensive structure against elite positional play, juego de posesión, and high-intensity verticality. Without the tactical discipline of the now-retired Antoine Griezmann, the hybrid connector, the defensive screen, France's midfield was exposed. Against Spain, players like Pedri and Gavi constantly occupied the pockets of space behind France's aggressive midfield line. Tchouaméni, Camavinga. They are natural ball hunters. Elite opponents used this aggression against them. They baited the press, pulled them out of position, and created what we call a vertical disconnection between midfield and defensive line. The back four, despite elite individual quality, were left unprotected against runners from deep. This period proved one crucial truth: physical dominance in midfield does not equal defensive control. Dataset B: Ruthless Efficiency World Cup Qualifiers, late 2025. The response was equally telling: 6 matches, 16 goals scored, 4 conceded, undefeated. The tactical diagnosis is clear. This data confirms France's status as the ultimate flat-track bullies. When they can dictate the physical terms of engagement against lower to mid-tier opposition, their system becomes overwhelming. They dominate possession not through intricate passing, but through physical duels and rapid transitions. The 2-2 comeback away in Iceland demonstrated mental resilience, but it also revealed something else. Even against weaker teams, France can be caught cold if their intensity drops. Synthesis Phase 2. France possesses a gear that most teams on this planet cannot live with. But they lack something critical when facing elite peers. They lack the tactical pausa, the ability to slow the game, to control tempo, to suffocate chaos when placed under sustained high-level pressure. And that flaw, more than any other, will decide their fate in 2026. We now move to the core of Didier Deschamps' tactical evolution: the shift from individual reliance to collective devastation. 3.1. The Mbappe evolution: from carrier to gravity manipulator. At first glance, the numbers seem quiet: 4 goals in 6 qualifiers, 2 from the penalty spot. Some call this a decline. That conclusion is wrong. Mbappe's role has not diminished. It has fundamentally transformed. Deschamps no longer asks Mbappe to be the primary ball carrier in deeper zones. Instead, he has been weaponized as the world's greatest tactical decoy. His new function is simple to describe and devastating to defend: gravitational manipulation. When Mbappe drifts to the extreme left touchline or suddenly drops into the number 10 zone, France forces the opponent's entire defensive block to shift. 2 defenders follow, sometimes 3. This is not accidental. It is a calculated sacrifice. Mbappe pulls the defense out of shape so that the rest of the pitch can be ripped open. He is not always the executioner. He is now the source of chaos that others are exploiting. 3.2. The Ballon d'Or multiplier. The Dembele factor. This is the critical new variable. The emergence of Ousmane Dembélé as Ballon d'Or winner changes everything. In the past, opponents had a choice. They could tilt their entire defensive structure toward Mbappe's left flank and accept the risk on the right. That option is now gone. Dembélé has evolved, no longer just chaos and speed. He now combines elite 1 versus 1 ability with ruthless end product and tactical discipline. So here is the dilemma for every opposition coach. How do you defend this? If you compress the pitch horizontally to block central penetration, you leave Mbappe and Dembele isolated one-on-one against fullbacks. That is a suicide mission. If you stretch your backline to double-team both wingers, you expose the central channels. And that space is instantly attacked by midfielders and strikers, crashing the box. 2 nuclear deterrents on opposite flanks, stretching defenses to their breaking point. 3.3. The Hydra's heads. Diversification of threat. This is the consequence of Mbappe and Dembele's gravity. The statistic that defines this era. 9 different scorers in 6 competitive matches. This attack no longer depends on one profile. It is modular, adaptive, designed to exploit space. The modern inside forwards. Michael Olise, Bradley Barcola. These are not traditional wingers. They do not hug the touchline. They operate in the half spaces. The moment the defense collapses toward Mbappe or Dembele, Olise and Barcola attack diagonally, behind the back line. They finish like auxiliary strikers. They are the primary beneficiaries of the gravity effect. The new number 9 profile, Jean-Philippe Mateta, Hugo Ekitike. This is not a Giroud replacement. It is a redesign. They are mobile target men, strong enough to occupy center backs, fast enough to attack space behind them. They are dynamic pivot points, not static walls. This is not evolution by accident. It is systemic. And it is why France's attack in 2026 is no longer something you stop. It is something you survive. We must now balance this terrifying attacking potential with a cold and unsentimental look at France's structure and resources. 4.1. The depth of resources. The ultimate luxury. France's squad depth is not just an advantage. It is an asymmetrical weapon in international tournaments. Defensive luxury. An injury to William Saliba or Ibrahima Konate is not a crisis. It simply means you bring in Jules Koundé or Wesley Fofana or Deo Upamecano, players who start every week for elite Champions League clubs. Fullback weapons. Theo Hernandez is arguably the most destructive attacking left back in world football. He does not behave like a defender. He operates as a second winger, stretching the pitch, overloading the flank, and arriving in the box at speed. Midfield profiles. If the match demands more technical control, more composure, more circulation, Deschamps has options. He can bypass the power trio and deploy players like Maxence Caqueret or Warren Zaire-Emery in a more controlled role. This depth allows France to maintain relentless physical intensity across a 7-game tournament. They can win ugly, they can win beautifully, or they can win through sheer attrition. 4.2. The structural Achilles heel, the Griezmann Void. Despite all this depth, despite all this firepower, the tactical scar of 2025 has not healed. The problem remains midfield balance against elite opposition. The preferred engine room, Tchouaméni, Camavinga, and a third runner, is built for transition, for duels, for physical dominance. They are agents of chaos. But they suffer from a cognitive void left behind by Antoine Griezmann. They lack a player with the tactical intelligence to recognize when to slow the game, when to hold position, and how to screen passing lanes intelligently, instead of simply chasing the ball. Against high IQ pressing systems, teams like Spain or Germany, this midfield can be manipulated. They are pulled out, bypassed vertically, and suddenly the world-class defensive line is left exposed to runners overloading the penalty area. Until Didier Deschamps solves this problem, this vertical disconnection, against top-tier opponents, France will remain vulnerable in the highest-stakes shootouts. This is the price of chaos. And it is the final puzzle standing between France and complete tactical dominance in 2026. Synthesizing this deep dive analysis, we arrive at the definitive portrait of France approaching 2026. They are a walking paradox, the most potent attacking force in football history, built on a potentially fragile defensive structure. The predictive model for World Cup 2026. Scenario A, the pragmatic path to glory. If Didier Deschamps embraces cynicism, accepting that France cannot control possession against the very best. If the defensive line drops deeper, if Mbappe and the Ballon d'Or winner Ousmane Dembélé are used purely as transition weapons, then France becomes nearly unbeatable. Their defenders are elite when protected by a compact block, and their counterattack is nuclear. Scenario B, the arrogance trap. If France attempts to play expansive football, if they hold a high defensive line, if the midfield loses tactical discipline again, against an elite peer, Brazil, England, Germany, then the nightmare of the 2025 Nations League returns, a chaotic match, a high-scoring shootout, and a very real possibility of elimination. Final verdict, the evolution of the Hydra attack, spearheaded by Kylian Mbappé and the Ballon d'Or winner Ousmane Dembélé, gives France the highest ceiling of any team in the tournament. But the flaws in their defensive structure against elite pressing mean they also carry a lower floor than teams like Spain or Italy. North America 2026 will not be decided by talent. France has already won that battle. It will be decided by tactical discipline and the ability to mask their one remaining structural weakness. This concludes the briefing. And if you found this deep dive analysis, grounded in hard data, free of superficial narratives, valuable, support the channel by hitting the like button, subscribing, and turning on notifications so you never miss a future briefing. Thank you for your time, your attention, and your trust. I am Soccer Scope, signing off until our next ruthless tactical breakdown. Goodbye and good luck.